It is a fresh start indeed, having done away with the 365 days that 2023 had to offer, and yet again we have a fresh year owed to us, and it is the first day of January 2024. Happy New Year to you, and thank you so much for keeping us company and that support that has continued to be endowed unto Camnet TV and everything that we do. And this is the Monday edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, the first edition rather of the 2024 year, and we are so glad that you're joining us this morning wherever you're watching us from. I'm your host Nelson Zulu,
and I'm your host Miriam Kaimba. Indeed, this is a lovely year. I hope you, our viewers, are staying positive and ensuring that 2024 bring those positive and a lot of more opportunities as well as blessings that you wish and hope for. Good morning, Nelson, and Happy New Year to you.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you too.
You look tired. Were you?
Well, I spent part.
I know a lot of people were at church yesterday doing the crossover.
I think I was among the.
You were among them.
I was among the a lot of people. I was in church.
I'm sure you were. This year we pray, we declare and decree.
Well, there are all those aspects, but one thing that is very important to me is when you're beginning such a juncture, it is very important that you commit yourself to the Lord. You commit those plans that you have for the year 2024. And I know that 2023 worked out in one or the other ways, because it was a bumpy year altogether, but you need to give thanks regardless of whatsoever that happened, and also looking forward to a better 2024, because we've always said about the aspect of being energetic as well as positive.
Yeah, anyway, any year has its own challenges as well as opportunities and different achievement. We hope that the year 2024 will bring up more opportunities for the young people in Zambia when we're looking at national level development as well as personal level development. We know that a lot of people in the year 2023 did complain about the high cost of living, and we saw previously that the head of state came forth and ensured that come 2024 we have put in several measures to ensure that we address the cost of living, and we hope that as we go into this year, indeed those measures will be put in place to ensure that the high cost of living is addressed. But anyway, before we move on to look at our topic of discussion this morning, let us just get direct to look at what the doctors have for us this morning.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. My name is Dr. Nakuyana Mufaya. So this week we are going to talk about a very common diarrheal disease. It's a condition that is very common amongst us. It's more of an endemic amongst in our communities. So we'll talk about typhoid fever. So I'm sure most of you have heard about typhoid fever. You probably have gone to the hospital and you've been told that you have typhoid. So this week we want to understand exactly what is typhoid and also how it comes about, and some of the signs and symptoms of a patient that has typhoid. And we also want to know how is it diagnosed in the hospital and how can you prevent yourself from getting this condition of typhoid. So today we'll discuss what is typhoid. Typhoid is a diarrheal disease, as we have mentioned. It's caused by a bacteria, and this bacteria is called Salmonella. Now Salmonella, there are two types, most of them that cause typhoid, two major types. There's the Salmonella typhi and the Salmonella paratyphi. So these two bacteria are the ones that cause typhoid. And usually it's gotten from the fecal oral route. By that I mean somebody has to ingest it from their food. So it's shed through the feces, and if someone has not washed their hands and they have touched food and then they ingest that food that is contaminated, then they would get the bacteria, which will attack the immune cells in the intestines. So it attacks the lining of the intestines, and in the lining of the intestines we find some immune cells. So those cells will be attacked, and eventually they will start, the bacteria will make the immune cells to start producing more of the bacteria itself. So as the bacteria multiplies, that is how come you start getting these symptoms of being sick. So usually it takes about 7 to 14 days before you can start having any symptoms. We call that period the incubation period. So it's a period where the body is still producing more of the bacteria, and it's still infecting your body until at a time when it starts manifesting in different ways and you start having symptoms of typhoid. So this typhoid can, as we have said, it can cause damage to the intestines, and sometimes the damage can be so severe such that it can cause perforation. So by perforation, we are talking about causing a leakage in the intestine. So your intestines can have end up having a hole or a perforation, and some fluids from the intestines can start leaking into the abdomen, the overall abdomen. So that's one of the complications of this typhoid. So it's important that we know exactly how it comes about, and we know how we can prevent it, and also know the symptoms, so that once you see yourself having these symptoms, or know somebody who is having these symptoms, then you quickly rush them to the hospital where they can get treatment. So make sure you watch the other episodes this week, where we'll talk more about typhoid. I hope you have learned something today. If you want to learn more about other topics, make sure you watch my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakubyanamfaya, on YouTube and also on Facebook. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubyanamfaya. I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and stay healthy.
Indeed, that is the doctor's corner, the health corner there, where we have seen that Dr. Nakubyanamfaya has continued, to bring us those healthy tips update. But right about now, let's get direct into our money market. We have the United States dollar, they are buying at 25 kwacha 47 ingwe and selling at 25 kwacha 97 ingwe. We have the euro, they are buying at 28 kwacha 15 ingwe and selling at 28 kwacha 71 ingwe. We have the Great British Pound, they are buying at 32 kwacha 42 ingwe and selling at 33 kwacha 06 ingwe. We have the South African Rand, they are buying at 1 kwacha 39 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 41 ngwe. Our interest is on the dollar part. The selling part, we have seen that only a few cents, and then we are heading toward 26 kwacha.
I can safely confirm that we're on 26. We're in 26 because without a doubt, when you look at the time these exchange rates were updated, that was 721.
721,
and
yes.
You can imagine that at that time most of the business had not started kicking, so meaning that at the time we're likely to have businesses up and running, especially mid-morning as well as we approach the afternoon, we're likely maybe to see a surge or a reduction. But for now, a reduction, I think, looking at those numbers, it's not possible. Yeah, we're just going into the 26, unfortunately.
Yep.
Unfortunately, 26 is the number.
You sound more disappointed.
No,
on
not
the first day.
Not really.
I prophesy. Please stay positive, Nelson.
Look at. I'm not disappointed, but I'm just trying to make a point, and the point is the fact that that number is surging, because 25.97. That's close to 26.
Yeah,
automatically, it means 26.
26, yeah. Only percent remaining.
Exactly. Automatically, because business has not yet started. How is it going to be when business?
Yeah, so likely
starts
tomorrow we're
kicking?
about to see it at 26 kwacha.
Not even tomorrow, I think.
26 kwacha.
By close of business
something
today.
way.
By close of business today.
Likely.
Yep.
Anyway, moving forward, just a reminder to our viewers that we have now officially opened our phone lines. Let's get interacted. Please tell us how you are celebrating your new year with your family. Those who are watching us live on Facebook, please do drop us that message. And those who are watching us in the comfort of your home, give us a call. Let us get interacted. Just moving forward, let us get to zoom in some of the stories that made headlines over the weekend. We did see a story of a 29-year-old woman of Lusaka's Kanyama compound who accused her mother-in-law of ruining her marriage of 11 years. In an exclusive interview, Precious Chongo claims her mother-in-law has coerced her husband to be abusive toward her and chase her from their matrimonial home. Let us get to look at that story. At only 29, Precious Chongo has witnessed and experienced hell in a marriage. The mother of 4 who lives in Lusaka's Kanyama compound has accused her mother-in-law of destroying her relationship with her spouse and coercing her husband to chase her from her matrimonial home. Precious, a distressed wife and mother, claims that her mother-in-law has been meddling in her personal affairs, creating a rift that proved irretrievably. In an emotional interview, Precious revealed that the alleged interference started after her mother-in-law came to live with them in their 2-roomed house. Desperate to save a marriage of 11 years, she turned to counselors and sought advice from friends and family. However, she claims that her mother-in-law's influence is so overpowering that it has left her feeling helpless. Sadly, Precious not only has been a victim of mental abuse from her mother-in-law, but physical abuse from her husband too. The accused mother-in-law and a spouse, who opted to remain unknown, have both admitted to the allegations. But the mother-in-law claims the reason she opted to chase her is because she has been exhibiting bad behavior. The mother-in-law alleges that her daughter-in-law has no respect and at one point accused her of engaging in a sexual relation with her son. Meanwhile, a community-based human rights organization called Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights, where pressures went to seek remedy, added a voice.
In the case at hand, the case is serious, and the matter was reported today. As an NGO, we want to put it on record that we help the woman in any way possible. That firstly, we provide the necessary protections, because this is a person who is coming from an abusive family.
This mother of four is now seeking for financial assistance from well-wishers so that she can return to her family in Kasama in Northern Province. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News. That's the story coming all the way from Kanyuma compound here in Lusaka, where that 29-year-old woman is living in an abusive marriage, and also she accuses a mother-in-law of trying to destroy her 11 years of marriage on account that she wants her son to get married to another woman. And also she alleges that her daughter-in-law is has been exhibiting bad behavior, because sometimes she accuses her of, engaging in a sexual relation with her own son. But anyway, those are allegations that we have continued seeing from that basically story, but we'll continue to follow up, because at the moment that lady, apart from being mentally abused, we have seen her being physically abused too. But at the time this story was being done, the lady had reported the matter to the police. Unfortunately, the medical reports as well as the call out from the police were being misguided by the husband as well as the mother-in-law. But we have seen that human rights-based organization called Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights have come on board to ensure that the woman receives the justice at the end of the day. Very sad indeed, Nelson, that a lot of women have continued to face such abusive things in their own marriage. Imagine being married to someone
for 11 years.
For 11 years,
and then they start
you have
you.
4 children, start abusing you. You have built everything together. And this woman, at one point, she broke down and said, my husband no longer tells me even the salary that he gets, but I was the one
who was in charge,
who looked for this job for him. She helped him get the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I think issues of gender-based violence in the country, I don't know if I would say there's need to have a complete overhaul in terms of how they're being managed, to ensure that both parties that are involved also get an equal share in terms of ensuring that there's both prevention and mitigation. Because to some extent, I feel there is more of talk rather than action. Because from Kanyama, we've covered a lot of stories on gender-based violence.
Year in and year out.
Year in, year out. Have we seen any action in terms of these stakeholders going there into Kanyama and just trying maybe to come up with sensitization programs?
Talking about stakeholders, I feel they need to change their approach. Because most of the times when they have these meetings with regard to gender-based violence, eliminating GBV, 16 days of gender activism, you'll find that they are doing them at these, luxurious places instead of going where these issues are happening.
Why should
in
you
this
go
compound.
to a hotel?
Yes, why should you go to a 5-star hotel and engage only few stakeholders who sometimes are not even the victims of this GBV, but you neglect those in the compound? Okay, so this, I think they need to change an approach. Last time I did a story in Kanyama compound, the same area. I did a random interview just to find out if women indeed did understand 16 days of gender activism. To my surprise, no one knew about it. And you'll find that stakeholders are holding these meetings in a very beautiful places, 5-star hotels, instead of going on the ground to ensure that they educate more women who are facing these challenges, so that these women should not only, get to know about them, but understand exactly what this means to them and to their well-being. Because most of the times, Nelson, you understand that there are some women who would say, why should I report my husband because he has been abusive toward me? I don't have where to go. These are the cases that we receive. And sometimes you'll find that a woman would say, no, it's a way of expressing love. My husband is beating me. That's a way of expressing love. No. So women need to understand all this. That's why I'm saying, various stakeholders that are in charge of, advocating, championing the rights for the women should go on ground and ensure that they educate more women on these issues.
If you ask me in terms of those allegations or assertions that, when your husband or your spouse beats you, it means they love you. I think in all fairness, for lack of a better term, that's like primitive thinking.
Yes.
Why should somebody who loves you start beating you? First of all, how is love shown in beating?
Exactly. But these are the myths that, a lot of women have believed. Growing up, this is what they believe, that this is the actual truth. And if your husband or any of your partner beats you up, they love you.
Well, that's there's no love. There's no love if someone is beating you. For me, it's a no.
Yeah.
It's a no. Why should someone who loves you beat you? Yeah. To an extent whereby even your eye is swollen and you can't even recognize or remember the last time you looked beautiful.
Have you seen that woman, the clip we just played? That woman was emphasizing on, talking about her mother-in-law, yes, trying to destroy her marriage. But she didn't put more emphasis on her husband abusing her.
Yes.
She said, no, me and my husband, we have no issues. He loves me. He
loves you, but he's been beating you.
Yes, but he's beating you. Okay.
Wow.
And you have been married to this person for 11 years. And you have 4 children together. I think it's high time that a lot of women, stand up and begin to realize their worth, and as well as, take advantage of certain opportunities so that, they can move forward and stop living in abusive marriages just because they do not have the financial means to support themselves. I know a lot of women have endured such pains because they have nowhere to go, no one to rush to. And this is a very sad situation. Hence, we call upon various stakeholders that are, involved in ensuring that they champion the rights of women to come on board and see how they can assist these women who have continued to be victims of GBV in our various communities.
Well, just like they say, but
no, not to a point where someone is trying to kill you. We did see last year, Nelson, a trending video from Matero, if I'm not mistaken, where a woman was being hit by the husband.
Yeah. And I do remember following up that story at the Lusaka Magistrate Court, where the same man, Mr. Baxon Danga, 49, was actually handed a 14-month sentence for assault. Causing actual
but before the sentence was passed, we did see the woman coming forth and saying, I want my husband, I want to withdraw this case, I want my husband being released. She didn't understand the implication that this might have in the future, because the husband would just say, my wife will come again. Even if you do, she will drop the charges, not understanding that, okay, this might have a negative impact in the future. And I understand that she might have done that because she was looking at her financial capacity. If my husband is locked up, who is going to support us? And this is why I am calling upon various stakeholders who are championing, the rights of women to come on board and ensure that they empower more women. We have seen that government already is empowering women, and they have encouraged them, through the Constituency Development Fund to start forming cooperative and see how they can empower themselves. Yeah.
Well, we continue talking about the issues of GBV even in the year 2024, because these are things that have been part of the country runs from time immemorial, and a lot of concerns also continue to pour in terms of how this issue should be handled when it comes to the issue of gender-based violence. But remember that that is one of the stories that we're looking at from Kanyama constituency, or Kanyama area, if you like it, within Lusaka. And moving on, still part of the communities, we get to look at the story from some traders in Kalikiliki compound of Mnali constituents who are living in fear of a cholera outbreak due to poor sanitation and water supply. One of the concerned residents, Rostina Nankamba, tells Camnet News that the area lacks garbage disposal mechanism, with authorities worsening the situation by dumping waste from a nearby stream at people's yard. We also marry that story to Minister of Water and Sanitation, Mike Imposho, who has underscored government's commitment to improve access to clean and safe drinking water in the country. Mr. Mposha says government is implementing various projects aimed at enhancing water supply and sanitation services through utilities. We do know for a fact that the country has had an outbreak of cholera, and we've seen a lot of people also die out of this outbreak, and we've also seen a number of cases continue to surge. So we look forward to the measures that are being implemented to ensure that this disease or this outbreak is actually kept. But before we even go any further, let's get to look at those two stories, and we'll be back on the other side.
As the country continues to battle cholera outbreak, this is the source of water for some households in Lusaka's Kalikiliki compound. Residents who spoke to Camnet TV News are living in fear of a possible cholera outbreak, saying some of their neighbors have already started showing signs of the disease.
Bantu bakumwa manzi mwamene bakamba tilibe ndalama ili yonse bati batapa manzi amene aya bakumwa na kumwa amene bantu angaleko otwala elo mukaona mapaipi nayo niyoboka ya manzi so manzi bantu bakumwa teni mabini amene bataya bantu yaenda pa mapaipi bantu bakumwa wangatwale diarrhea bakapeleka pa klinika ati ni kolera manje kolera ankala pa klinika apa onani sembe bati pasako na chani na kolorini yakutitaikako mumanzi olo bantu vija sopo yosambira kumanja kulibe sopo yosambira kumanja kulibe kolorini kulibe chili chonse chakuti bachite treated water so bantu wango okumwa so chabe manzi mukawafunsa bantu penangu bakansela ndiye bamene bamalipirako kujaika bantu atapako manzi
nabatulekeresha kuno baye echo batulekeresha ipi chinshi amenshi yaleshupa abantu balefu mukweleza mukulu atapa amenshi bakamukunjapo and ayamenshi futi inflanga yaisa yalalamba ukwati tukwanishe chitotuma kuloli ndo wanu kwa chatulo kubikamu bande bashishibe nokuno balanu ayamenshi ngoko oli wala bakanyako ngata ulipo abantu kunwa nabana banono balere amadairiya yachira mukuno balanda chinikolera bachikolera abantu bale dairiya efya ifya green ifya yero ukuluka ifya yero nokudairiya yero bati umuntu apa klinika tekolera nomba twala chitashani twala kusukira kwisa.
On the other hand, these residents are displeased with a garbage that has been dumped at their doorsteps during the unblocking of this stream.
Toilet nayo niyozula olokuti muone matoilet mungene mukope matoilet navo nivozula matoilet kaili manzi kwa meti mankalila kwa mana amanya mukapa mwamba chiteni mabini ayamene wanaleta apateni mkopeko mabini pa nyumba ya muntu mabini so bangaleko twala kolera pa nyumba mabini yali hapa pa nyumba banabwela badede ni yesi kubwela okumba banapitosa mukamana mabini ndiye bamene wanaika pa do ya muntu so bantu nibo dwala
basenda mabini kuba nshabika nomba ukutupususha kuli pesa baye mbibe so buturesha tini baye mbi tabayishibo kuingira mu mukombo ni bamone ifire chitika fish tapati nomba busuma kuli pesa.
Efforts to get a comment from area member of parliament Mike Imposha were unsuccessful as his phone could not be reached. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
As the year comes to an end, the country has experienced various challenges during the course of the year, with water supply being one of them. Throughout the year, various parts of Lusaka have bemoaned lack of adequate water supply in parts such as Matera constituency, Mutendere township, to mention a few. Various measures have been put in place but seem not to solve the issue at hand. Responding to the matter, Minister of Water and Sanitation, Mike Mposha, reveals that plans are underway to improve the quality of water supply and sanitation in the country. Mr. Mposha has further urged members of the public to adopt a clean mindset that will help curb the alarming sanitation issues in the city.
So obviously this requires a lot of resources. So yes, we have a plan, and the plan is to continue expanding the water coverage through introduction of various water projects. You saw that last year we pushed in some money and completed the Kafue-Bau project, which gave Lusaka an addition of 50,000 cubic meters of water supply per day. We are about to commission the Kafulafuta water project on the Copper Belt, which we are hoping to complete between this December and January next year. And we are hoping, all things being equal, by month end of January, we should be able to do the pump testing and start supplying Ndola, Luansha, Masait, and Impong. So all these projects are speaking to the fact that Zambia must continue pushing in resources in the water sector so as to improve both the water supply and the sanitation coverage. But we are also working towards making the sector attractive to the private sector. Remember that not too long ago, His Excellency the President was having a second PPDF, a public-private dialogue forum, which was at Sierra Resort about 2-3 weeks ago. And this was the second one he was having since assuming office. In there, we are trying also to bring in the private sector to work with the public sector in various sectors, including the water sector. So first of all, we have to make the water sector very attractive in terms of tariffs, in terms of policies, so that we can attract the private sector to partner with the government to introduce various projects that will see to it that we expand the water coverage, but we also...
According to Sustainable Development Goal number 6, by 2030, the world must achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Issues of access to water as well as good sanitation has been topical, especially in the country during the outbreak of cholera as well as other outbreaks such as typhoid. We have seen that also a lot of concerns keep on coming from members of different communities who are actually alleging that access to clean and safe water is a problem. But we look forward to the assurance that has been given by Minister of Water and Sanitation and Mike Mposha that there are a lot of projects that are being worked on to ensure that access to water also improves in these communities and ensure that the reoccurrence of cholera is actually kept going forward, because we've seen that time and again this has been an issue that has been on the neck of the country's health sector, if you may like. And these are concerns also that maybe you and I might have pertaining to why does this thing continue to happen. But hey, you can still come through and give us your contribution in terms of your celebration of the Happy New Year, as well as contributing to one or two things that we're talking about on the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on the 1st of January 2024. We know for a fact that despite it being New Year, some challenges might still be there, but you can fuse us in terms of how is the water situation in your area, how is the waste situation in your area, are garbages being collected, are issues of relating to waste being well handled. Yeah, I think these are concerns that we've had time and again. If you go to Kanyama,
as we go to 2024, we don't want to see the issue of women complaining. A lot of people complaining about issues with regards to drainages, with regards to garbage, water. I think we need to open a new chapter. I know that these issues are still there. They need to be addressed. And, you know, we're already in the rain season, so issues of floods.
Well,
Kamola this time around has been at least
I think
compared to last year, but anyway, we are yet to see January how it will end. Yeah.
Issues of floods, for me, if you ask me, it will just not end overnight. We'll still have people that are going to complain about lack of proper drainages. We'll still have people that are going to complain about a lack of adequate access to clean and safe water. We still have got people that are going to complain about these CBEs that have been employed within our communities to collect waste and garbages.
But you know what? That tells us one thing, that we, those who are put in charge of, the city planning, are not doing their job adequately. Because if you are going to allocate land to individuals, you need to put in these measures to ensure that in the near future, people do not face these challenges. Because when you talk about floods, already people are going to complain about the water being contaminated. Okay, so these are issues that are well known, and it calls for efforts and ensuring that relevant authority, the local authority, as well as other stakeholders work together, other engineers work together to ensure that in the near future we don't face such situation. Now, so 10 years, 15 years from now, we don't want to be talking about the same things, drainages. No. How are we going to develop as a country if our focus is going to be on drainage? We need to start talking about how a generation of young people, are coming up. They are going to be empowered. They are, have expressed interest in new technology. They are building these robots and stuff like that. These are stories that we want to see 5 years, 10 years from now.
Yeah, but I'll tell you for a fact that just even in the last week of 2023, I think I was one of the victims of those that were clients of the Papua Association of Zambia, especially when you walk into Kulima Tower bus station. Yeah, there I was, I think, dressed in an office attire, and then
someone did a kapapu on you.
It just says, boss, it can't look nice if you just come through, I give you a papu. And when I look at the distance, I was even charged 5 kwacha just for me to be papa.
Yeah, a lot of people are taking advantage. This is creativity, making some ends meet. And later on, we did see that DMMU came on the ground just to ensure and assure the traders there in Kulima Tower that, a lot of measures were going to be put in place to ensure that this issue is adequately addressed. Anyway, you, our viewers who are watching us in the comfort of your home, let us get interacted. What are you, or rather, how are you celebrating your new year? We're talking about 2024. This is the first day of 2024. Please do call us. How are you celebrating your new year? And those who are watching us in the comfort of your home, those who are watching us live on Facebook, also do give us, or rather drop us that message. Let us get interacted. How are you celebrating your first day in 2024? As we're talking about 2024, we did see a story yesterday coming from one of our reporter, Vincent, who did some interviews. And this is the story. Quite interesting story, though. As the festives continue, some residents in Lusaka have described 2023 as economically difficult due to the high cost of living. Fred Kapoto, a bus driver, says the high and unstable fuel price have negatively impacted his operation as he spent more on buying fuel than profit making. He says despite the challenges, he is excited about being alive and hopes for the best in 2024. Meanwhile, Zambia Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has cautioned members of the public to celebrate responsibly. Indeed, despite alluding to the facts of talking about the high cost of living, he is still hopeful for 2024. I hope you, our viewers out there, you are indeed also hopeful for 2024. Has it, opened more doors for a lot of opportunities for at both individual levels as well as national levels. But anyway, let's get to look at that story.
It is that time of the year again when chicken and rice is on most Zambia's menu to symbolize celebration for making it to another year. Camnet TV went around the streets of Lusaka and has seen most people were in shopping mood. As you may guess, chicken was never to miss on the shopping list. In describing how 2023 has been, most Lusaka residents have described it as an economically difficult year, as evidenced by the high cost of living and exorbitant prices for basic goods.
ni zakwatia ndrama kai bonse basebeza but tumaresi swanga kangu kwezekana 12 mwezi tumaresi 12 bakwezekana 12 sunde bambili tunashanshira ko ijaja at least celebrate kwa 2023 diaper ya sira so no wonder tunasunga ko tumandrama kwa celebration 2023 diaper so mayapa still wa mwezi angalida 2024 mwezi so 2024
to be honest, vindu nivovuta, but like I've said, even if vindu vavuta ineva church tuzabwera kunipasa unga pa nyumba sasa kubera kuchitira chance wakapoa kuchitira chance. All I have to work hard because Tingachinya president Abanawa but still things will still be the same. Wanzatu bila ngwafutia ma China bakufa batazani wapa a lot of challenges which we are not even facing here. Yeah, so as for me, I need to work hard.
For bus drivers, unstable fuel prices have affected their businesses. However, they are hopeful that the coming year will be better.
Natukalira bad ma bus driver due to fuel na dura maningi so pesa kati ndrama za mbili zienda ku fuel za ndrama zetu pale so tunapenda kwa shem 2024 but tunaanza kwa chepari fuel kayo dabo wasimza 5 trips or 7 trips a day offer one thing so pesa at the end of the day tunanga choro 100 or 100 squat so fuel natuletera njara mungaza ma bus driver
ngachina vindu konse mevili chenguri don't want to amozi ngoba ngibazembe tungathulizana sipomene makuru singafere mkati but vindu nguri but yeah celebrate that chemuje kali tafika kumaiza makuru 24 antache expect chip ndoka chati this 7 chip chinje kwa chingako chemwizi vantu sasingamaningana ma pressure.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has cautioned members of the public to celebrate the New Year holiday responsibly.
We want to appeal to the public that even as we go for the New Year, we need to continue, even do more on the adherence to the regulations on the road. We have police presence on the road, not for the sake of us wanting to be on the road, but for the sake of the deaths that are occurring on the road. So we want to reduce those fatalities.
In many countries, Zambia inclusive, New Year's Eve is celebrated with eating, dancing, drinking, and watching or lighting fireworks. However, it is also time that criminal activities and road accidents increase, and so there's need to be conscious or be the holiday statistic a few days to come. Vincent Perry for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Indeed, people continue to remain hopeful for the year 2024, and this is the first day of 2024. I hope you are remaining positive, like myself and Nelson Zulu, as well as hopeful for 2024 in order, to ensure that you put things together and achieve some of those goals that, you have planned for this year. If you did not achieve some of your 2023 goals, it's not you shouldn't give up. We have 2024 for you, to improve some of the things that you think you might not have done so well, and ensure that, you perfect those skills, as well as at both personal and national level. We want to see, young people being employed. We want to see a lot of young people benefiting from the Constituency Development Fund, which was increased in the 2024 budget. Want to see a lot of women, coming to tap from these funds so that, they can empower themselves as well as the youths. Now, some quite interesting. We also did see a story talking about CDF. We did see a story where government has urged displayed traders to find themselves space in already existing markets around Lusaka. Local Government Permanent Secretary for Administration Mambo Hamaundu charges that traders should avoid illegal trading spaces as they are compromising the health of the public. He underscored the need for constituencies to utilize the increased Constituency Development Fund to build new markets for their communities. Let us get to look at that story.
July 18, 2023 will remain an iconic day in the history of Zambia as street vendors who occupied Lusaka Central Business District were completely removed by the government. Local government minister Gary Nkombo, in his statement on the 20th of July, stated that the ministry had rolled out the removal of street vendors from central business areas countrywide, as street vending is an illegal act under the Markets and Bus Station Act. Since then, illegal trading spaces have been brought down by the Lusaka City Council around Lusaka. The exercise, which has displaced most traders who have continuously cried to the government to restore their former trading spaces. Responding to the matter, local government permanent secretary for administration, Mambo Hamawundu, says affected traders must go back to already existing market structures and desist from creating illegal structures as they pose a risk to members of the public.
That is informing him to say we have sufficient trading places within the market. It's not just in Chilenje. We go to Kabwata, we go to Kamwala, we go to City Market. There are a number of trading places. So my appeal to members of the public is that do not embark on doing illegal things. And then when the council carries out enforcement actions, you begin to try to say you have been victimized. When in actual fact, you are the one who's victimizing the public, because when you're operating in areas which are unsanitary, now that there's cholera, you are compromising or you are risking the health of the public. And as government, we will not allow that. So the plan going forward is that everyone must operate in a structured manner, go into markets.
Meanwhile, Mr. Hamawundu has urged decision makers in various constituencies for the year 2024 to make decisions that will respond to the developmental needs of the people.
2024, let us ensure that we plan and we plan ahead, and let us avoid having situations where there is complexity when it comes to decision making. The country is pregnant with expectation. The country expects to see a sustained level of development. As you've noted, for 2023, a number of projects have been put in place. Money has been put in various sectors, particularly with education getting quite a significant portion with the number of classroom blocks that have been built, with the number of desks that have been procured. And we want to sustain this as we go into 2023, responding to the needs and aspirations of the people vis-a-vis developing the communities, vis-a-vis developing the constituencies.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The United Party for National Development, UPND in Mumba Constituency Central Province, Saturday night held an end-of-year party to mark the close of 2023. Speaking during the event, Mumba Constituency Member of Parliament, Credo Nanjua, called for hard work among party members by taking stock and audit of government projects in their localities. Mr. Nanjua says that successful implementation of government projects in all 12 wards of the constituency, beyond improved service delivery to citizens, will enable the ruling party have a grip on power in the constituency.
In Central Province under UPND, from I don't know time, we have always won in Mumba district. Forward. Now I want us to continue moving in that direction. Officials, I want you to work. Don't be divided. Now we have got no reason to be divided. We are in government. Or you want to go into opposition.
Mr. Nanjua used the event to declare 2024 as a year of party mobilization through service delivery to citizens.
In 2026, I'm thinking PF will not have a candidate in Mumba. That's what I'm thinking. How do we do that? We should go and recruit all those brothers and sisters who were that side. Zambia! Forward! We should not be greedy. We need to grow the party.
During the event, all 12 ward chairpersons were given documents showing projects under implementation to enable them track progress in collaboration with civic leaders and other implementing agencies. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula.
Stories on the Constituency Development Fund, and fully knowing that also there's an increase when it comes to this fund because the 2024 national budget is now going to be actually be optimized, or rather be considered and be working in this year, and a lot of people are actually looking forward to ensuring that they also be part and parcel of this fund, because it has been much preached about, and it is a fund that is designated to ensuring that development is seen. Are you seeing development in your area, and as far as CDF is concerned? Are you also seeing issues of people accessing or having easy access in terms of the CDF itself? These are questions that we can continue to ask and find about. But yeah, we had the story from Mumbwa there with Mumbwa's Central Member of Parliament in Credo Nanjua, urging the constituents from there that you need to actually take part in CDF and ensure that you develop an interest, because that's the only way you're going to benefit from government empowerments that are coming in. And we also saw Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development for Administration in Mambo Hamaundu actually acknowledging that also funds for the year 2023 have been paid. And hopefully we won't have complaints like we've had from some section of society, especially those stakeholders that are in the opposition, who've claimed that, you see, these amounts are not paid actually in totality, they are just paid in bits. And hopefully those funds also get to hit on the ground and ensure that those projects that were approved also begin to work, because people are looking forward to how these funds are being utilized. It's not just about them being released. They are going to continue asking questions. Say, if the money is available, but why are we not seeing a development in area B, in area C?
Because we did see, you know, a lot of MPs from the opposition did accuse government of, you know, not being truthful, because they claimed in some parts that they had dispersed the funds for CDF in such an amount. Meanwhile, on the ground, that wasn't actually the fact. So yeah, 2024, we have seen that we have been told that all the funds have been dispersed, and we hope that this time around there won't be any excuses in terms of, you know, ensuring that development in all corners of the country is seen, especially in the rural areas. We have seen that a lot of people in the rural areas have continued, you know, to get, you know, lack of access of various things, and development is not quite as rampant as it is here in Lusaka. Because myself, when I went to, especially I'll give an example of Shangoma, this is a very, very far place. First of all, the road itself is very bad. A road that can take you almost like 2 hours for you to reach there, you will get to spend like 4 hours, you know, double the time. So these are things that we need to look at, because we're not talking about just developing the urban areas, but we want to see the people in these rural communities are also benefiting from this development. Yeah.
Well, we continue with the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Kwa mene mtitambila kulikonse, you can still give us your contribution in terms of Happy New Year. We wish to celebrate Bwanji. How is it going? Do you have chicken in the pot? Do you have rice? Is everything in check?
Na my drinks magura, especially Fanta, Soca, Coca-Cola,
Exactly.
na to rice pambari, na to masalads.
Even David was shorter, especially on such a day, Christmas stuff, because even that report that our colleague Vincent Piri filed about the festive season and people being hopeful that 2024 is going to be a better year. He did mention to say, as it is, chicken was part of those things that were being shopped for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chicken doesn't have to be so. I think it's a way that it has become a, how can I say it? It's more of a trademark that we use all the time. Like it's more of a tradition. Yeah, like every time when we talk about Christmas and New Year, I know we do have sometimes where we have chicken in our homes, but I don't know when it comes to this, especially when you talk about Christmas and New Year, it's just something special when you have rice and chicken at home. That's how we grew up with the notion that we need to have this.
Well, at Nangudola ekwele chitebwanji nkuku
nkuku sizashota.
Sizavutikira why vutikire nkuku. Anyway, moving on, let's also get to look at the story from Opposition Patriots for Economic Progress. President Sean Tembo was urged the Anti-Corruption Commission, SCC, to be impartial in its handling of the case of former Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Minister Stanley Kakubo. Mr. Tembo says the case of Mr. Kakubo strongly suggests money laundering, and the SCC should apply the similar measure of property seizure, among others, as witnessed from those belonging to the opposition. And on top of that story also, we get to look at the story where I know for a fact that there's been debate that was there for about 23 years over the Access to Information Bill, which was actually signed into law before we even clocked Happy New Year or clocked into the year 2024. And there's all this excitement that has just come about among the media practitioners, among various stakeholders that have been calling for transparency as well as accountability, meaning that you and I, so long as you're a citizen of Zambia, you are free to go to any government or any institution and request for certain information for you to have a better understanding of how maybe this project would have been done. And this story also comes from media experts who are optimistic that the newly assented Access to Information Act will improve the practice of investigative journalism in the country. One of the experts, John Kadani, also says the signing of the ATI bill into law will introduce incidences of mis- and disinformation among members of the public. And Panos Institute Southern Africa Programs Officer Nyambe Jere has commended government for the bold move to enact the bill into law, but however is concerned to lack of an independent clause that protects whistleblowers. Let's get to look at that story.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, we are concerned by the statements which were issued by the President, where he was apparently defending Mr. Kakubo, and he was essentially reducing the gravity of the issues that we witnessed for ourselves. I think it is worth noting that the President wields a lot of power in our democracy, and when the President comments about a particular issue, then it has the potential to influence other institutions. It has the potential to undermine the ability of law enforcement agencies to properly investigate that matter. It has a lot of potential to actually undermine the fight against corruption. And our expectation is that the Anti-Corruption Commission and other law enforcement agencies are not just going to do investigations, but they need to treat that case the way they treat cases related to the opposition, where they move in and they confiscate property, they seize bank accounts, and so on and so forth. So far, we have not seen any of that. We've just heard of statements from the Anti-Corruption Commission saying that they have instituted investigations. We expect Mr. Stanley Kakubo to be treated in the same manner that opposition leaders, especially those from the Patriotic Front, are treated when they are being investigated for corruption-related offenses.
During his 2023 end-of-year press conference on Friday, December 22nd, 2023, President Hakainde Hichilema signed the much-awaited for Access to Information Bill into law. This is after the bill was shelved for over 20 years by successive governments, despite promising to enact the bill into law. Media experts have described this as a game changer, especially for the media fraternity in the country. Legal expert and media specialist John Kadani says the signing of the ATI bill into law will reduce incidences of mis- and disinformation among members of the public.
The President having assented to the Access to Information Bill, it means that now ministries, public bodies, they are to employ what are called information officers. So now it will no longer be the PS. So what this will help now is that I think it will help in terms of the reduction of misinformation and disinformation and fake news, in that now information will be proactively disclosed, and that the majority of the people now will be able to access public information without, even when the PS is on leave or when the PS is not there. So this is quite good for a democracy, in that this will also be able to enhance the democratic principles of accountability and transparency.
Meanwhile, Panos Institute Southern Africa Programs Officer Nyambe Jere says the law will improve the practice of investigative journalism in the country.
The ATI law is a game changer for the media space, considering that the media is the fourth estate. So that being said, it helps improve on investigative journalism. We can see that that has lagged for the longest possible time. And in so doing, sources are able to now give information because they are compelled through proactive disclosure. Most times journalists won't have to request for that information because it will already be provided for. It will also enhance on citizen participation, because now citizens will have information readily at hand to allow for them to participate in democratic processes. Other than that, it will also promote on freedom of the media, because we know that information has been a limiting factor in how the media can operate in its scope.
On the other hand, Nyambe is however concerned with the lack of an independent clause that protects whistleblowers in the Act.
The whistleblowers provision that has been left out in the Act, we feel that this is something that should have been explicitly put there to protect those that give out information. We also understand that the information officer is going to be protected in the sense that if they give out information which they thought would be in good faith, then it protects them. However, to a greater extent, the whistleblower is not protected in that regard, because sometimes it's not the information officer only that gives out this information. Further than that, we also see that proactive disclosure is now just one section, when in the previous bill we saw that it was a whole part that was specifically given for proactive disclosure. In the new bill, we see that information officers just assume that they must give out information because it is a right. However, we would have loved to see stringent measures put in place that compel the information officer to give out information.
The right to access information is guided by the idea that information should be easily accessible in order to support democracy. Enabling people to inform themselves makes a social dialogue possible and allows the citizens to exercise their right to freedom of expression more purposefully. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Those were some of the stories that we are looking at before we even crossed to the year 2024, and these stories were making headlines in our previous bulletins, a bit on a Saturday as well as on a Sunday, and a lot of also stories that you had to look out for was that story. Interesting enough that about 920 Munyaole marketeers are living in fear.
Yeah, facing eviction after the market was allegedly sold to a foreign nation. Some of the traders spoken to by Camnet News have wondered why they are being told to vacate a market they have been operating from for over 16 years. But we're talking about people facing eviction. We're talking about people not trading from the street. And this is the market that they have. So if you're going to evict them from this market, where are they going to go? Already, we have seen that a lot of people have come on board and said, these markets that were being told to go in, they're already full to capacity.
Yeah.
Have we seen the constructions of new markets? These are the questions that we're asking. Have we seen the local authorities, especially in the CBD? I know almost everyone wants to trade in the CBD. We have seen that that market just near a city market there opposite Simon Mall. It's not yet in operational. How many years down the line? So these are the things that, you know, in as much as we want to say, a lot of people should start facing this eviction because the market was allegedly sold to a foreign. Again, the other question is, have we put in measures to ensure that we find a place for them to trade from? And again, when you're talking about this market being sold to foreign traders, these allegations we are aware of, but was procedure followed? Okay, for this market to be sold, because we're talking about markets that has about, I don't know, over 1,000 people trading from there. So if you're going to displace them, where are they going to trade from?
Yeah, where they're going to trade from, indeed. But that's not much of a concern now. The fact is that we'll be closing with that story. And all we can wish for is that our viewers out there, wherever they're getting us from, wishing them all the best, and hopefully that their resolutions are going to be met in the year 2024, despite 2023 being a bumpy year. And we wish you a happy new year, and making sure that everything works out in your favor. It has been Nelson Zulu as well as
Miriam Kaimba. This is where we call it a day, and indeed enjoy your 2024.
A trail of relocations, demolitions and market scandals, leaving traders with no plans of restarting their businesses amidst economic hardships has been what 2023 had to offer, as others continue nursing their wounds over the demolition of makeshift structures in parts of Lusaka. Traders at Lusaka's Mnyaule market are operating in fear, as the market has been allegedly leased to a foreign national who has begun barricading the market in preparation for construction. They explain that about 1,400 traders are affected and allege that the move is being spearheaded by suspected ruling UPND cadres.
So we need proper time so that we can hear what they can tell us, proper views where we can get it first-hand information. And then we can, when the chances comes here, when shifting, we can able to shift to a proper place. But there is no one who is able to come here and address us where we are supposed to go and how the shops are going to be there that side, we don't know. So we are in the dark.
Luma nemveka ikambatwa dzatipeleka kuja kuSimsoni kunyu market yani vazasekula but ja market ni imveka nomveka kuti ina vanhu kudala, and then ife vanatifa kila malata pano ndiye pantisurvivira. So apa vana vanapasa funa ndirama zamabooks vana kuti vaendere kuschool but vakambati tichoki. So ife dandaulo yatu tidandaula kuli vapresident tinavhota but kansela tu amatifokola nakutuza kuti na voti yanu paneni lili pano nilibe.
Now going to trade here permanent, what does it mean? It's permanent. Whenever they want to do something here, they must consult these people who are permanent here. Not just coming and start putting these things here without noticing, without even telling them what is going on. You go to this office, they just say keep quiet. You go to this office, keep quiet.
The traders tell this journalist that they have been trading from the market since 2007 and allege that the area councillor is involved in the move, further questioning the happenings at the market.
Pano pa market batipisha koenda siziva tankala maezi yambiri siziva ndiye pamene tisungira vana tisungana vana vamasiye ndiye pamene tidyera ndiye pamene titetekera kuti ndiye pali ponse manje kwamene vafuna kutipereka siziva tinavota kovota tenzofuna pisi mutendere tinakondwera tinavota kuti tinkaleko bwino tenzovutika tenzotikwaniwa everyday mumamarket yatu. So tikali kukondwera tikali kusekerera kuti ati patipisha manje tizaenda kuti
ise pano masawa akamba kuti chokepo kansela masawa kwetizaenda nikuti kwetizaenda safu napona kutandizira kuti akambeko ikozi mwaini zivira munga kunkala kansela no kambira ko bantu kuti awo bantu banga bapasene koni time but ebe ndi amene apushinga amenya abantu safu na kustand safu na kumuza pamene kuti mama ketias pamene bakamba kulipi.
Instead of the council telling us what to do or what will happen in the future, they don't express themselves. What we have seen here is scandals come to us, put the fence there. Don't know what is happening here, and they're telling us you are moving out from here.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Masao Songoma has refuted the claims.
We have reserved 600 spaces for those marketeers there. So we are going to get 600 of those marketeers to where? To Simon Mwewalen. And because that is a council market fully owned by council, they are going to sit from me, Lusaka City Council, and the Minister of Law Government. When they say the councillor has not protected, I'm not elected to protect illegalities. I'm elected to represent people, and I think developing that market is a good.
And Lusaka City Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Nyambe Bulumba says the only stores earmarked for demolition are those near Lumumba Road.
Currently it's not the time now. We may do some demolition in the future, but not now. So at the moment we've only demolished those along the Lumumba Road who are built on the drainage stretch, because that drainage has to be redesigned and redeveloped.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.